Oh, it's go time, baby. Another episode of Dynamite in the books. That was a lot of fun. That ending was kind of lame, though. Not gonna lie. Alright. That's a shit transition. That's okay. Hello. Welcome. Another episode. Smells like Wrasslin. What are we on? Episode 12 right now? Jesus. That's great. Anywho. Good to be back after a long week. Pretty solid overall episode of Dynamite. Lot of matches tonight. Like, a lot more than I thought they could fit on a 2-hour show, but they did. More hits than misses. There were definitely some misses tonight. But, a lot of cool shit. I'm trying to think of, like, what happened in the week of wrestling from the last time that we had talked. Oh! Wheeler Yuta, like, whooping some ass and becoming a made man after having an amazing match with Jon Moxley on Rampage. That was fucking phenomenal. Like, that was a really, really good match. The crowd, I mean, he kicked out of a paradigm shift and a Death Rider and didn't tap out. They just basically just choked him out and he passed out. It was fucking great. Wheeler Yuta, now officially a member of the Blackpool Combat Club. That, to me, was probably, like, the highlight of the last week or so. I'm trying to think of, like, anything else happen, and it really is escaping me. But, it's been a fucking week and a half, so I apologize. Anywho, so here we go. Gonna go straight into the Dynamite review. There were 7 matches listed for tonight. Suzuki versus Samoa Joe was the main event for the ROH World Television title. CM Punk versus Penta Oscuro. MJF versus the Captain Shawn Dean. Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus versus Red Dragon for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Marina Shafir versus Sky Blue. Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland versus Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. And the trios match of Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz versus the Jericho Appreciation Society of Chris Jericho, Jake Hager, and Daniel Garcia. So we're going to go right into it. The night started right off with Cult of Personality, Punk hitting the ring. This was a pretty solid match between him and Penta. I honestly, to be quite honest, I was worried the whole time if Punk was actually going to get injured. Because just the way that Penta wrestles, like, I just fear for Punk's life. There was one point where I actually did get worked into thinking that Punk got injured. Because he was, he clutched at his knee. I think he botched a top rope Frankensteiner. I mean, they ended up recovering and doing it, and he worked on both legs for the rest of the match, so I obviously got worked. But I also thought that Luchasaurus got injured. I mean, it's possible. He kept on clutching at his quad. He was definitely on the mat, like, in the ring for a longer period of time than I would have thought was acceptable before he rolled out underneath the ropes. But he worked the rest of the match, did a couple of, did a lot of shit on his legs. So I'm curious as to where that's going. But ever since he got injured that first time, I've always just been, I just feel like, I don't know, I got this thing, like he's injury prone now. Like, big guys doing those kinds of moves, like, I just feel like big guys' bodies break down, like tall guys, It's like their bodies are too big for them for normal life, and then you're going to put the additional stress of athleticism, like, I don't know. I don't know. It's that Amari Stoudemire syndrome I got. Anywho. Great match. They got into each other's faces. A lot of chops tonight from everybody. This match definitely started off with a lot of chops and strikes between Punk and Punk and Penta. Again, like I said, Punk went up for a top rope Frankensteiner. He slipped on the rope, sold the knee. Penta kept up the attack because Punk couldn't really, like, put any weight on that knee. And, then eventually, he fought out of it. He hits Penta in the corner with a rising knee. About to put him in the GTS, and Penta he ends up fighting out. Looked like Penta was going to go for another arm snap, but Punk turned into the Anaconda Vice. Penta breaks the ropes, and Punk was gonna do the fear was gonna get the fear factor put on him, but escaped. For it because I just don't like seeing Cole take another loss. You know what I mean? I don't think that it's Hangman's time to lose it, but I mean, not gonna lie, a feud between Cole and Punk would actually be pretty cool. But I don't see like why give Cole would be like the shortest reigning AEW champ of all time if that's the case. Let's say for the for argument's sake, he wins on Saturday. Punk's obviously getting the big match at Double or Nothing, which is in May, I believe. So you're going to give him, what, a 6-week title run? It's most likely going to be Hangman winning on Saturday for Battle of the Belts. So, we'll see. I am considering doing a podcast after Battle of the Belts, just recapping both Battle of the Belts and Rampage, because there'll be enough wrestling that happens within that 48-hour period that it would make sense to kind of do a review on it. It's gonna be a very rare thing. I'm considering it, but I got the time, so I might actually do it. Excuse me. The Jericho Appreciation Society shows up in a private jet. Eddie Kingston and Santana Ortiz show up in a car, scream on sight to Jericho, leave 2.0 laying, and stole their shoes. Fucking hysterical. Next match was Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, the reigning World Tag Team Champions, defeat Red Dragon. Awesome match. I don't know. I'm hoping that, Jurassic Express is like a Wheeler Yuta situation or Jade Cargill situation where like I wasn't hot on them in the beginning, but as their booking progressed, I turned the corner and really, really became like all for them. So I mean, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop with Jurassic Express. Like, I liked them when they weren't champs because it wasn't like there was a focus on them. They just kind of showed up and they were in feuds and stuff like that. I wasn't really for them winning that feud against the Elite. I mean the Super Click when they were feuding with Adam Cole and the Bucks. But apparently they won that feud just so they could, be put over to win the tag team titles eventually. So, but I'm just like, I don't know. Like, they're just not compelling characters. They're just guys who were fan favorites who people wanted to win, and they won. And, I mean, granted, we wouldn't have been able to get a really good Lucha Brothers run because Phoenix has been out for the last, they've been out since they lost. Phoenix has been out since they lost the tag belts because, he got injured in that tag match. So, I don't know, man, but this is a great match. I kind of wanted Red Dragon to win, even though it kind of sort of didn't make any sense to give them the belts. And when I know in my gut that Adam Cole isn't going to win the belt. So, great match. I honestly thought that Luchasaurus, busted his shit in this match, but I guess not. The cool part was, I think it was, Fish, does an avalanche Falcon Arrow over Luchasaurus and Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle O'Reilly had him in a guillotine choke, and he did it fucking over it, and then Luchasaurus just drops Kyle O'Reilly on top of Bobby Fish to break up the pin. I thought that was one of the better parts of the night. Another reason why I thought that it was possible that Luchasaurus was injured because what do you call it? The Thoracic Express finisher that they had was a little sloppy. It felt like he couldn't get enough bracing. He couldn't plant himself enough to actually go forward with the flip. So it was a little bit off, but that's what happened. But then the silver lining to this dark cloud was FTR coming out. Now, whether or not FTR is going to get into a feud with Red Dragon for the sake of getting into a feud with Red Dragon, and now they're just up against another high-end tag team, they're just going to start beating the indie darling tag teams, or they're actually going to make a run for those AEW tag team titles and be like the first 2-time AEW tag champs. That would be incredible, because then they would have all the belts. Honestly, whoever has been upset with FTR's booking, I mean, like this, I feel like this more than makes up for it. They held on to the belts during the pandemic, which they proved that they were good company men. They debuted in front of almost nobody. For them to come back, kind of languish in like mid-card limbo for a bit, to now win the AAA titles, the ROH titles, and now potentially 2-time AEW tag team champs. I mean, if anyone deserves all those belts, it would be FTR. I mean, now that you've built them up, whatever tag team beats them has got to be either a mega heel tag team that is on fire or a crazy babyface tag team. But like, I don't feel like, and then like FTR has some sort of heel turn while they have the belts. I don't know, but anything that has FTR in it, I'm in. I don't think I've ever seen FTR fight Red Dragon before, so I'm really, really down for that. If it means they have to beat Red Dragon to get to Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus and then beat them, I'm all for it. I mean, FTR could definitely put them over in their last match as champs, so I'm not really worried about that. But yeah, another exciting feud, or the potential for another exciting feud on the horizon. Blackpool Combat Club were backstage, including Wheeler Yuta. They're facing the Gun Club in a trios match. This pretty much is the last undefeated streak that the Gun Club has, because they've all had, each member of that group has had undefeated streaks. First they were undefeated in singles, then they were undefeated in tag. They've slowly lost all their undefeated streaks. I hope that this is the catalyst to get them to side with Danhausen or something like that. I don't know, and make it like Danhausen and the Ass Boys. I'm okay for like, them just being that mid to lower card, comedy trio, but I don't know. But I obviously expect the BCC to beat the ever loving shit out of the Gun Club, and then who knows? I mean, I assume that the sports entertainer faction and the pro wrestling faction are gonna end up colliding eventually. The problem is like the Blackpool Combat Club has like 3 guys. Whereas, like, the JAS has, like, 5, 6 guys? What do they got? They got Jericho, Garcia, Hager, and 2.0. So that's 5 guys. So, I mean, that showed tonight when, the numbers advantage took over Proud and Powerful in Kingston. So it's like, until that numbers advantage is eliminated, like, they're always going to have the upper hand. You know what I mean? So for the BCC to get into a feud with the JAS, I don't know. Like, I feel like maybe they should add on people. Maybe this is a great idea for Daniel Garcia to turn and go face with the BCC and become a pro wrestler. And possibly also they add on, I don't know about like Lee Moriarty. I feel like he doesn't fucking fit. Like, I'm just not digging his gimmick right now with the. I don't dig it. I don't dig it at all. Out of the guys that they mentioned, it would be Daniel Garcia, and now that, Wheeler Yuta's kind of been over, like Wheeler Yuta being like the 2 younger recruits of the Blackpool Combat Club, and then maybe like one other vet. Like maybe add in like a Cesaro if they could sign him and add him to Regal's group. Like 2 young guys and 3 old vets, you know what I mean? Well, not like old vets, because I don't think Mox is like super, super old, so I think he's maybe in his like late 30s, early 40s possibly. So we'll see. But I'm excited to and I mean, we're gonna talk about this later, but the JAS intro is fucking hysterical, and we'll get into that in a little bit. We got we got Jamie Hayter and Tony Storm in a backstage segment.
Come get on the train.
Like, I mean, the cool part is that they're going to get this match right out of the way. They're going to do this first round of the Owen. That's going to be tough because, like, Jamie Hayter's kind of, like, I kind of want to see them do something with her. I mean, granted, she is in a higher profile. Like, she's not with Britt. Britt's been off TV since she lost the belt. Her fighting Tony is a good thing because that puts a little bit more spotlight on Jamie Hayter than she normally has. because she really doesn't fight anyone noteworthy. She just kind of beats up like the lower card geeks in the women's division. So seeing her fight Tony, I mean, obviously it's going to be a nice spotlight. Obviously only one of them could win, you know what I mean? I would assume it's Tony since she's the new kid on the block, but you know, who knows? Maybe they could have Hayter cheat and steal the win and begin some kind of feud later on down the line. Who knows? But yeah, Tony Khan made the match. It's going to be a Hayter versus Storm in the first round of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, women's bracket. So we'll see how that goes. The captain, Sean Dean versus MJF. We all kind of knew how this was going to end up. But I mean, the way I'm like, they're hyping up this Wardlow train. You know what I mean? Like, he's got to win. You know what I mean? He's got to win. Like, I feel like to build him up and then just kill him off. It's like akin to when they built up Jeff Hardy, like, all that much. And, like, he had the IC belt. And it was a big thing. And, like, he was fighting Orton at Rumble. That was the Rumble that Cena came back from the pec injury. He was gonna fight Orton at the Rumble at MSG. I was actually at that show. I bought tickets for that show just because I could have sworn that Jeff Hardy was gonna win that belt, just because they were putting him over like a shit ton. I mean, he was doing swantons and fucking twists of fate on Orton like every other week. It was insane. And fighting all these ridiculous matches, he was over as fuck. And then all of a sudden, Orton just reverses the first twist of fate that he has, hits him with an RKO 1, 2, 3 win. So it's like, if that happens to Wardlow, I'm like, all right, so like, where does he go from here? Like, you built him up or whatever, and now he loses to MJF. That's it. I mean, I don't know. I would assume that these losses that MJF has been accumulating this year, because in the beginning of the year, he said he wanted to go for the title and he wanted to build up his rankings, and they've been kind of making a point to fuck him over in the rankings ever since the beginning of this year. No, Doom, he didn't get popped for drugs back then. He got popped for drugs after his original world title win at, I think it was Armageddon. What do you call it? Fuck, what was I going to say? Anywho, so, you know, MJF, he comes out to the ring. He can't unzip his jacket, you know, all this fucking bullshit, whatever. And it was just a ruse to hit Dean from behind. Cameras cut backstage. One of the security guards had his shirt torn off. No, man. Wardlow's out stripping people and leaving them for dead. And he dresses up as security. He's disguised in a mask. MJF is on the outside. Gloating. Wardlow comes over behind him, starts chasing him. Of course, he gets waylaid by security. MJF gets counted out. Oh, that's what I was saying. So, I mean, if MJF is going to keep on losing, the only thing I could think of is he's the Joker in the Casino Battle Royal, and that's how he gets his title match. And that would make sense if it's going to be Punk and Hangman in Vegas for Double or Nothing, because then you immediately have set up that title match. You have MJF as the number one contender. Well, not really the number one contender, but he could cash in or whatever. He's got the poker chip, so he could get his title match, and he has it on Punk. You have, like, MJF kind of hold off, like, he doesn't really say anything. Maybe he even takes some time off of TV after he wins, and you put the focus on Punk. He has the Summer of Punk. He defends the title all summer long, and he drops it at All Out in Chicago to MJF, who eventually cashes in, I guess, his title shot or whatever. So anywho, MJF eventually gets counted out because he's running away from Wardlow like a bitch. He begs, what the fuck is the referee's name? Bryce Remsburg. He begs Bryce Remsburg. He's like, listen, do not count to 10. Whatever Tony's paying you, I'll triple it. First off, MJF, you don't got them billions, bro. I don't think you're outbidding Tony Khan. So I don't know what that was all about. But Remsburg shrugged it off and fucking called the 10 count anyways, and Sean Dean won. So Sean Dean now has, I think, more wins over MJF than anyone else in AEW. So that's kind of cool. Camera cuts backstage. Wardlow's still fucking killing people. Grabs the mic and screams, "This is not going to stop until you release me from my contract." This whole contract thing is fucking hysterical because you obviously know what they're alluding to. So, A Darby Allin video package played. He's like skateboarding in the middle of nowhere. Look like fucking San Francisco, actually. Challenges Andrade to a coffin match, so that should be really cool. In one of the odder moments of the evening, Malachi Black addresses Fuego del Sol. Malachi Black in a feud with Fuego del Sol, I feel like Malachi has better things to do. I mean, if there was any faction that could benefit from a trios title to chase, it would be fucking the House of Black. Because, like, what the fuck are they doing? They're feuding with Fuego del Sol? And Fuego del Sol saying he was never handed anything. He was literally handed a contract and a car. So I don't want to hear any of this shit. All right? I don't want to get behind Fuego del Sol. He's a geek. He's small, and I don't care. So hopefully Malachi Black, like, literally just destroys him. And then you can move that. You can move House of Black on to bigger and better things. The JAS beat Eddie Kingston, Santana Ortiz. Let's talk about the JAS intro. How it's a total mockery of the WWE like corporate intro, like for over however many years, the worldwide leader in sports entertainment. But it's fucking what's his name? It's what the hell is his name? Matt. They changed their names now, but the guy in 2.0 that has a funny, you know, you want to get a taste? You know, that guy, it was fucking hysterical. He's the one, he goes, for the last 5 weeks, the worldwide leader in sports entertainment. He did it in that voice. I fucking died. I hope they make that every single week. 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 10 weeks, 30 weeks. I hope that becomes a running thing for when they get introduced. It's hysterical. What do you mean it's a Cody diss? Explain that to me. You saying a Cody diss like 4 fucking times. I don't understand. It's not a Cody diss. It's a diss in the corporate banner for WWE, because they you know, it's like the then now forever thing, but they talk that shit. Trust me, it's like that's what it's about. I mean, like, okay, so again, like the numbers advantage kind of like got in the way. And they lost. Then again, like, I just got like, I don't mind Kingston. Like, I mean, like, Kingston could take a loss, honestly, because he's over as fuck. But like, how many losses are you going to give this guy already? Like, he beats Jericho and gets a big win. And now, oh, actually, that trios match, they did beat, who did they beat? They beat Daniel. They beat 2.0 and Daniel Garcia, I think, a couple of weeks ago. So, like, but you know, like, what's going to happen? Like, what are you going to do? Like, something needs to go. Oh, the Malachi Fuego thing? It's a Cody diss? I don't know about that. How? That doesn't make any sense. So, like, I mean, yeah, I guess this is going to keep on going on. I mean, I'm hoping that Santana and Ortiz get, like, one other guy that can help them out. Like, I don't know who that's going to be, but whatever. Like, they can't just keep on getting there. Actually, they need 2 other guys to make this all even. I'm hoping that maybe this is going to lead to Blood and Guts, because they did say another Blood and Guts was coming this summer, so maybe that's going to be the thing. I don't know. What else we got here? We got MJF, Shawn Spears, and Mark Sterling backstage. MJF was freaking heated. He basically says he has Mark Sterling explain that in the terms of Wardlow's contract with MJF, Wardlow has the right to book him in any match that he wants, so he's going to book him against the Butcher. So here we go again. Wardlow is going to have to fight all these guys that MJF is going to book for the next couple of weeks until he ends up fighting him at Double or Nothing. Which I assume. I don't know. I mean, I would here's the thing. Here's what I could see happening if that's how it's going to play out. You have MJF lose in some way, shape, or form. I can't think of a way, clean, dirty, whatever, but he loses to Wardlow at Double or Nothing in like the opening match or the second opening match. The Joker is a mystery, obviously. MJF comes out as the Joker at the end, screws over everybody and wins and gets the title. So like MJF still gets the rub, but Wardlow gets the win that he needs. Like, that's the only way I could see it happening. But like, I'm just fucking tired of like like it's the same MJF trope over and over and over again. Some guy's got to fight a whole bunch of his cronies to get to him. It's just whatever, man. But yeah, you know, Wardlow will keep on winning. He'll do his Powerbomb Symphony, blah, blah, blah. I'm hoping that this is what I hope for. I hope I actually get good matches on the way there. You know, it would be like, I just feel like all the matches that ever led up to an MJF match, they weren't really blow away matches. You know what I mean? Except for, no, I can't think of any. You guys tell me of a time where a Labors of Jericho or, a Labors of MJ, whatever the fuck. It's just, Cody did it. Jericho did it. Punk did it. Wardlow did it. Enough. It's old hat already. I mean, like, for you to be reusing ideas and you're 2.5 years into the company, like, you got to do something different with MJF. Like, you have to book this guy differently. I hope his title run isn't like that either, because it's going to be fucking atrocious. Marina Shafir defeats Sky Blue. This match sucked. This match was god awful. I mean, Sky Blue.
Come get on that.
But other than that was it. Apparently, Kiera Hogan and Red Velvet have joined the baddie section. So I guess that means that Jade has a stable now of a couple of, I don't know, a couple of broads and 2 wrestlers. So, yeah, I mean, depending on who you ask, then like the Nick Gage and Jericho match, I mean, that was an entertaining match, but like, I'm not necessarily like a Nick Gage guy, you know what I mean? Like, he's kind of like, to me, it's like, okay, like, I get it. He's the deathmatch guy, you know what I mean? But like, Hangman's doing death matches every other week. You know, the women do death matches every other week. There's been like 4 women's death matches. Lance Archer does death matches. Jon Moxley does death matches. So it's like, it's at the point now, like, everybody does death matches. So like, it's just a thing that happens, I guess, I could see why people kind of are feeling like these death matches are losing their luster, because, I mean, I guess it gets over with a live crowd big time, but like, let's do something else. You know what I mean? I feel like they always throw in, I feel like they always throw in the death match when they kind of just like, when they're in the middle of a feud and they're like, what do we do? The crowd was fucking dead silent for this. I'm talking about dead silent. I'm glad this ended quick. Sky Blue, she's green. Marina Shafir, she's got no excuse, to be quite honest. I mean, but then again, there's probably a reason why you never saw her too much. Her and Jessamine Duke, you never saw them too much on NXT. I mean, out of all the people they brought into NXT, they were the people that, like, they put out there on TV regularly, and those 2 did nothing. Like, they went out with, what's her name? They went out with Shayna Baszler a lot, but they didn't really do much else of anything. So, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with that. Hold on a second. There we go. Let's see what else we got here. Anywho, Hook was interviewed. He's going to have his first match on Dynamite. He's pretty much been exclusive to, bro, he ain't running up to me in traffic, all right? Because I don't fucking drive. Hook got interviewed. He's going to have his first match on Dynamite. He's pretty much been exclusively a Rampage guy. He's going to be fighting Tony Nese. That should be a good match because, I mean, Tony Nese is an excellent wrestler. Charisma Rise, but I mean, that's why you got Hook. So Hook going to Dynamite is a thing now, because like that is the more watched show out of Rampage. I feel like Rampage is really watched by like the hardest of hardcore AEW fans, because let's be honest, it's in the death slot. It's 10 a.m. on a Friday night. This is what I don't understand. Like, a lot of people like to talk to me about like Rampage ratings. Why? It's in the death slot. All right? That show is never going to get good ratings. Even if it's an amazing show, I repeat, Rampage will never get good ratings. All right? It was just an extra side deal that Tony and Warner made. They put on an extra hour on Fridays. It gives a little breathing room to Dynamite, because to be honest, we all know that Dynamite isn't enough time for the roster that they have, even if you add on Rampage, it's still not enough time to adequately book the roster that they have right now. So you needed some sort of pressure release valve. Rampage was the answer. I don't expect Rampage to ever be a show that hits over 1 million. The only time it hit 1 million was Punk, and it's because it was CM Punk. So enough. I don't want to talk about, like, Rampage ratings don't deserve to be talked about, because Rampage, from the day they said it was Friday at 10, no one should have ever expected there to be any good ratings on Rampage. And now it's going to be on Friday. It's going to be at a special time at 7 p.m. So it's literally going to be, I think that makes it right before SmackDown. I don't know. I don't expect it to get good ratings either in the middle of 7 o'clock. It's not their normal time slot. It's an hour show. I mean, I guess they're hoping that the title match brings in viewers. But to be quite honest, if you're smart enough to know the booking, you know that Adam Cole's going to lose, Adam Page is going to win. Adam Page has kind of been, let's be honest, a lukewarm champion. They haven't really built up. I mean, surprisingly enough, they have a lot of big names, but they haven't necessarily built up a lot of guys who could afford. It's a combination of two things. They haven't built up enough guys who could, A, afford to take the loss to Hangman, but give Hangman a good match, or B, what do you call it? I don't know. Like, I just feel like they're, or B, they haven't really, they haven't built up any guys who, like, you wouldn't expect to even challenge, but, like, build them up to be potential challengers. Like, they just threw Lance Archer at us. You never got to see him, like, wrestle in a whole bunch of matches and build up momentum. So we're like, Punk has been doing this for a while, right? I don't see any heels doing that but Adam Cole. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, I mean, like, not like, but like actively calling out, going for the title. I want to see heels being built up before they're fed to babyface champs. Otherwise, they're just like, they're putting the ranking system in my face and saying like, oh, this guy's, this guy is, he deserves it. Why? Because he beat a whole bunch of nobodies on Dark? I want to see wins on Dynamite for a couple of weeks before you let him challenge. You know what I mean? And you should be building those guys up in the prior title reign, so that when the new title reign comes around, you already have these guys pre-established, where you're like, oh, well, damn, man, like, if Hangman wins, he could challenge against, he could get challenged against this guy who's been winning. He could challenge against that guy who's been winning. But instead, it's kind of like a mystery ball, and as to who's going to be the one to challenge for the belt. So the only person that they're building up, and who technically shouldn't be built up, is CM Punk. But that's whatever. Dan Lambert, Men of the Year backstage. This is a very troublesome storyline, because Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti have go-away heat. They do. When they, I believe this happened on Rampage, when they cut that promo and they basically were selling, like, Ethan, like, I think Ethan Page was saying, like, oh, like, Ty Conti's not a role model for my daughter. And then Sammy's like, we don't give a shit about your kids. Like, listen, they need to get them out of this feud immediately, because you have the very strong potential of turning an established heel like Scorpio Sky and people who you want to promote as baby faces, which is Sammy Guevara, and risking them, just the crowd doing a Cody on them and turning on them. If they start cheering Dan Lambert and booing Ty Conti and Sammy Guevara, the storyline is a failure. Get them out of that storyline, wipe it clean. I don't know what's going on, but get them the fuck out of there and just make the heel turn. Make them a very, like, Generation X douchey Edge and Lita. You know what I mean? Have them fucking be douchebags on their social media. Have them take a whole bunch of risque photos and shit like that with themselves. And then just have them both turn heel in their respective divisions. They both accompany each other to the ring, and they both allow each other to get wins in matches. And then you end up building them. Then you end up building Sammy up as a heel again to eventually fight some babyface who is super over, and you want to have a mega over babyface and a super whatever heel. So, but otherwise, like, this is not good. So, they are gonna do Scorpio Sky versus Sammy Guevara for the TNT title battle. The belt's good. This is quick and over, done, ended. Get this title match out of the way on Saturday. Put this behind us. Let that be the Sammy Guevara heel turn. Like a couple of days later, separate the heel turn from Scorpio Sky's victory. Because if you give Scorpio Sky the victory and then Sammy turns heel, it kind of implies a double turn. And I don't know if I could see American Top Team and Men of the Year being faces right now. You know what I mean? Because eventually Paige Van Sant is going to come back and she's going to have go away heat. Because let's be honest, it's another MMA person coming into pro wrestling. Like, I don't want to see any of that at all. You know, she has no pro wrestling experience. She'd be hopping into the ring greener than green. And she signed a contract. I don't know, man. I don't get it, but that's a very troublesome storyline. I don't even think that Dan Lambert needs to be with Men of the Year because both Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page could cut a good promo, and they're two good wrestlers. So hold on. So anywho, we go now to what I thought was the match of the night. Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs defeat Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. This was a fucking great match. Ricky Starks is over as fuck, all right? When they eventually pull the trigger on Ricky Starks, it's going to be amazing. The guy is over in everything that he does. He's a great face. He's a great heel. He's great on commentary. He's great on the mic. He's awesome. I thought this was a great match. I wasn't sure how this was going to go because, you know, Strickland's new and Keith Lee is new and you kind of want to protect them, which they kind of did with Taz getting involved and costing Lee and Swerve the victory. So, I mean, this feud will continue. How it's going to continue, I'm not sure. They've already done the tag match. I mean, but Starks had to win. I mean, there was a point in the match where the crowd was so over for everything that Starks did. I'm like, I don't even know how they're going to let the heels lose today. Like, they're over as fuck. And when Powerhouse Hobbs pinned him, that crowd popped mega. So, I don't know, man. I love Swerve Strickland. I fucking love Keith Lee. I think they're going to do great things in AEW as long as their booking and their characters are treated right and they're given a chance to have good matches and not too much like gimmicky matches. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I mean, who knows? Maybe we have the beginning of a new tag team. Maybe they end up winning and I don't know. I'm not sure, but the right team won. Hobbs is getting over. He's getting more and more over week by week. When he came out, when his music played, that crowd popped. All right, and he's not from New Orleans. He's I think from Texas. I think. So, I don't know. I mean, like, I love Powerhouse Hobbs. He's getting better. I like when he talks. I'm liking when he wrestles. I think that, the Powerhouse, like, spine buster that he has is really awesome. Starks is just my favorite. I just fucking love Ricky Starks. I just wish that, he's holding on to the FTW belt. Like, they got to do something with that belt. So I don't know. I'm not sure how that's gonna continue to go on. But the right team won. Crowd was over as fuck. Great match. That was the match that I predicted would be match of the night. I feel like it was a toss up between that and the Punk and Penta match. But two great matches. The lineup for Rampage. I mean, this week is packed. We got Dynamite tonight, Rampage on Friday, Battle of the Belts on Saturday. And also, I think Windy City Riot is also, through New Japan, is also on pay-per-view this Friday, which I think I'm going to order and watch, so that should be pretty cool, too. Rampage lineup for Friday. AEW World Championship is on the line in a Texas death match. Hangman Adam Page, the champion, versus the challenger, Adam Cole Bebe. Blackpool Combat Club versus the Gun Club in trios action. And the Owen Hart Foundation tournament qualifier for the women's bracket. Ruby Soho versus Robin Renegade. The battle for the belts lineup is as follows. Scorpio Sky versus Sammy Guevara for the TNT title. The ROH World Championship on the line. Jonathan Gresham versus Dalton Castle. I don't know if that was announced online or if that was first announced on television, but I'm pretty surprised. This is going to be great. I like Dalton Castle. I think Jonathan Gresham is a phenomenal athlete and phenomenal in the ring. Same thing with Dalton Castle. I think Dalton Castle is a great wrestler. I know he's had a history of back problems, so like I don't know if he could still go like he used to go, but I'm a big fan. I think it should be a great match. And the AEW Women's World Championship is on the line. Thunder Rosa versus Nyla Rose. They had a backstage segment that was all-time classic. Tonight, we'll go over that in a little bit. The lineup for... Hold on a second. Dynamite is on a Wednesday next week, right? I'm not losing my mind. All right, so on a very special holiday edition of Dynamite on 420, my favorite goddamn holiday of the year, it's going to be Wardlow versus The Butcher. Hook is going to be in action against Tony Nese. Owen Hart Foundation Tournament qualifier for the women's division. Dr. Britt Baker makes a return and fights Danielle Camella. Owen Hart Foundation qualifier for the men. Kyle O'Reilly versus Jungle Boy, which should be an excellent match. Another reason why I'm looking forward to Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus splitting up is because I think Jungle Boy is stronger on his own. I think he needs more character development. I think he needs more singles matches. I think he needs to learn to stand out there on his own, and cut promos and become more of a compelling character. Coffin match, Darby Allin versus Andrade, which should be absolutely fantastic. And Tony Khan will be making another huge announcement. I have no idea what that could be. It's rumored that it could be the release date for the AEW video game. It could be rumored their eventual streaming deal. It could be a lot of things. I'm trying to think of the last time a huge announcement kind of fell flat, and the last huge announcement that we got was the purchase of Ring of Honor. So, I mean, not since Christian Cage have they really kind of fell flat on a surprise. So, and that's nothing against Christian Cage. They just built it up so much for, like, you know, a veteran to come and like a well-worthy name or whatever. I mean, it's fine. I actually rewatched the match between Christian and Kenny Omega for the title. Well, actually, no, that was the first episode of Rampage. The second episode of Rampage was the Punk debut. So, that was the one that got the highest ratings. But I thought that match was great. I mean, the pop crowd, huge for Christian winning. And by the way, I actually was going back and watching some watching some WWF from the 90s because I kind of wanted to see what the matches and the booking were like in the 90s. I believe, if Wikipedia is correct, that was around the time that Cornette was in charge. So I kind of wanted to see like why everyone sucks his dick so much. So I figured I'd watch some of those matches. I watched SummerSlam 91. And that was the one where Bret Hart won his first singles belt when he beat Mr. Perfect for the IC title. That was a good match. The crowd actually popped for like a trios match between, I forgot who it was. But I know that the faces were British Bulldog, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and Tornado something Tornado. And that was like the opening match. And when the faces won, like I was shocked. That was MSG. That crowd popped. So it was like kind of cool to see, like to go back in the day and like see these like guys actually like guys who like, you know, opening matches and shit like that, like getting big pops. So that's my first foray back into the 90s watching WWF. So if anyone has any good 90s matches that they could recommend from the Cornette booking era, I'd be open to suggestions. Because I still think that he's unemployable. He's unemployable. The guy can't handle any other opinion that's not his own. And before anyone says it, he's not like me because my opinion is actually fucking right and fucking gospel from the fucking word, from the mouth of God is what I'm telling you people right now. But not Jim Cronin. All right, no way. Anywho. Thunder Rosa was backstage, gets interrupted for the umpteenth time. Whatever. But this, like I said, this was an all-time classic segment. Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero come out. They have a cake. Nyla Rose is like, normally it has writing on it, but it actually costs extra money to put that on there, and you're not you're not worth that much. Rosa's like, do you guys think I'm stupid? And Nyla and Ricky go, yes. And Rosa hits Nyla in the face with the cake, fucking lays her out, accidentally hits Vicky in the process, and basically just screams at Rosa and says, I love cake and violence. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Oh, man. Oh, Lord. Whew. Nyla Rose, underrated on the mic in AEW, period. That's all I have to say before I go on a rant. A main event comes along, ROH Television Championship on the line. Samoa Joe against the current TV champ for Ring of Honor, Minoru Suzuki. I mean, listen, if you like Japanese, no, Doom, no. She doesn't get the music. No. You'll get the music for a promo. You get the music for being fucking dime pieces like Jamie Hayter and Tony Storm and Sky Blue, okay? There are standards to the Godfather music. So let's keep those standards, okay? Anywho, so if you're a fan of like fighting spirit, Japanese strong style matches where they just stand toe to toe in the middle of the ring and trade chops and forearms, this was definitely the match for you. If you are not a fan of these matches, then you fucking hated this match, because about 90% of the match was them just taking chops to one another. It was an okay match. To be quite honest, I wasn't really expecting too much from this match. Minoru Suzuki is not getting any younger. Samoa Joe is not getting any younger. I feel like Samoa Joe would be better placed. Like the match that he had with I don't know. I just think he's capable of having better matches with different wrestlers, and not guys like Minoru Suzuki. But to make a long story short, Samoa Joe wins and is the new ROH television champion, which leads me to the final segment of the show. Jay Lethal comes out. He had said that he was going to come out and give Joe like a special present. And it basically was the middle finger in a box. The lights turn off, and I swear to God, I thought it was Veer. Some gigantic-ass motherfucker named Satnam Singh came out. I've never heard of him before. Apparently, he's a former basketball player. Yeah, here he is. And the crowd was like, who the fuck is this guy? Whatever. Here he is. Let's see what he could do. I've never seen him before. I don't know anything about him. I didn't expect him to show up on the show. This kind of came out of left field. I'm pretty sure for everybody, because I don't think anybody was reporting that this guy was debuting tonight, let alone signed. So, we'll see what happens. I've never seen him wrestle, so we'll see. But as long as this leads me to a Samoa Joe versus Jay Lethal match for the ROH TV title, which is going to obviously be a banger because Jay Lethal is a absolutely phenomenal wrestler. And Samoa Joe is obviously one of the best wrestlers on the planet and a living legend. That should obviously be a great feud and a great match. I guess now Joe has to kind of get past Veer 2.0. So yeah. So we'll see what happens. That is pretty much Dynamite and noteworthy stuff from Rampage in a nutshell. Only other thing outside of AEW business that I could think about talking about is Cody showed up on Raw, cut a promo, had a match with The Miz. I have no idea who won because I don't watch Raw. But, I mean, Cody, from what I saw in the promo that he cut, because I did watch that on YouTube, Cody's still Cody, man. The guy can elicit emotion on the mic. I mean, I guess depending on who you ask, he could elicit emotion on the mic. I do think he kind of cries too much, like Flair level crying. But, I mean, it was a smart idea to put him with The Miz because The Miz is good on the mic. He just is a dog shit wrestler. So, you know, I mean, hey, Cody, I assume Cody won. Oh, actually, you know what? That kind of leads me to another. Actually, Doom just reminded me of this chit chat. I want to give a shout out to one of the regulars in the chat and our viewers. He's in my Discord chat. Process. Wherever you are, bud, I hope that you're watching the podcast. If not, you know, that's cool, bro. I just hope that you're doing well. We miss you. We love you. And I can't wait to see you asking questions for the groups in the near future. But shout out to my boy Process. Love you, bud. But yeah, so, you know, Cody's doing his thing. He said pro wrestler. Miz corrected him and said sports entertainer. He said belt. Miz said belts hold up your pants. IC title. I don't really fucking care. I mean, it's all small potatoes. You know what I mean? So I honestly just wish like WWE would be as open about their would be as open as shitting on AEW as AEW is on WWE. I don't really see. I mean, we're talking about like Monday Night Wars heat, like they did that shit to each other left and right. So I don't really see the problem, but whatever. So you know, all the best of luck to Cody in his future endeavors at WWE. A great, you know, an overall great solid show tonight. From Dynamite. Very much looking forward to Rampage. Very much looking forward to Battle of the Belts. Very curious as to what this announcement is going to be next week. And very curious to see the brackets for the Owen Hart tournaments, both the men and women's brackets, start to take shape. So a lot of fun and exciting stuff heading into the spring and summertime for AEW. I will say there's a very strong possibility I will be doing a recording Saturday night after Battle of the Belts. It will be reviewing Windy City Riot, New Japan. Oh, yeah, Doom, great point. Like, fucking WWE had Gilbert, so I don't even want to hear it. I'm going to be going over Windy City Riot. I'm going to be going over Rampage and Battle of the Belts Saturday night. So, you know, stay subscribed to the channel and keep an eye out for when I go live. It'll be immediately after Battle of the Belts on Saturday. But again, thank you all for participating in the chat, which was mostly Doom talking to himself, but it's entertaining to see him talk to himself as always. We had a good amount of viewers tonight, actually, which was kind of cool. Again, shout out to my boy Process. The DCW chat loves you, and we're thinking about you, pal. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate your continued support with the podcast. Again, any big changes and notifications, I'll be sure to be letting you know through these episodes until some social media gets constructed. Otherwise, that's it. Signing off for the night.